Have you ever wondered about the adventures of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman? Yes, I said that extremely epically because I've had a lot of coffee this morning, and I hope you have as well because we are all awake to tell the story of the DC Universe Trinity. Anyway, if you found yourself lost here, you're currently at Comicstorian's Complete Story Series. This is where we take your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues of comic books and we break them down into digestible bites before we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Our story begins in Hamilton County as Clark Kent's son John plants some magic seeds in the farm. As he got home, he took off his shoes, telling his mother that he was giving them. A guy was just giving them away! The guy was a little weird though, but free is free. So he went ahead and took the seeds, and then he went and bought ice cream. Lois tells John that that's fine, just don't tell his father about it. And as John sits there, the doorbell rings and he shouts, "He'll get it!" Outside of the Kent home, Bruce tells Diana that this really isn't his kind of thing. And is that really a boar that she brought along? Diana says that it's wild boar, thank you. Back inside, John scans the door and sees Bruce's suit, Diana's vambrace, and a wild boar. Out in the barn, Clark steps out to see Bruce being knocked back and Diana blocking John's heat vision. Clark asks what's going on and John shouts that he's sorry. It was an accident! He was trying to look through the door and then his heat vision kicked on. Clark says that it's fine, but is everyone okay? And why is everyone here? And is that really a boar on his stoop? Lois says that it's fine. She invited them all over. They've put this off for far too long. A little while later, Clark asks, "Dinner? Seriously? We don't even know them that well." And Lois tells him that that's kind of the point. Now, before we can move on with the story, I do need to explain. In this universe, there was an alternate universe version of Clark Kent, and that's this individual. The stories move on and he gets merged into the timeline, and no one acknowledges the fact that he's an alternate reality Clark Kent, but this is during the time period in which they were still unsure as to who he really was. Anyway, we're gonna continue. Lois tells him that with him returning to action, it would be nice for them not to be in isolation. Just smile and do it for John. As dinner is served, Clark tells everyone, "Thanks for coming, I just wasn't expecting this." And Bruce tells him, "Diana made me come." John then tells Bruce that he's sorry for blasting him and he hopes that his dad's shirt fits okay. Under his breath, Bruce says, "This is why I work alone. Hasn't your father taught you anything?" Clark stops him and tells John not to let him intimidate him. Bruce has done worse things than wear plaid. Back when Dick's identity was in danger, he wore a rainbow suit to draw attention. As the table laughs, Bruce says, "This isn't a laughing matter. If left unchecked, you and your son are the most dangerous beings on the entire planet." But as the now awkward dinner continues, Clark says that it's probably time for him to go get dessert. Him and John should go. Diana then tells Bruce that he should go with them. She would like to talk to Lois alone. As the men leave, Diana tells Lois that she would like for her to stop looking at her like that. She had to deal with the loss of this universe's Superman, but she's not here to rekindle old feelings with an alternate reality version of the man that she loved. Once again, just so you're not completely lost, the original New 52 Superman and Wonder Woman were dating. So when the New 52 Superman vanished and this alternate reality Superman took over, this kind of situation did arise. Lois tells her that she knows she didn't mean to, but Diana goes on telling her that this Clark is not the same man that she loved. Those feelings no longer ring true. Later that night, as Clark, Diana, and Bruce all look into the fields, Clark says that he doesn't regret returning to action, but he doesn't really think that this is the kind of life that he would want for his son. Diana then says that perhaps the three of them reuniting goes beyond just defeating villains in this world, and Bruce scoffs. "Oh, that's doubtful." Clark then places his hands on both Diana and Bruce, telling them to believe it or not, he's actually glad that they came by. Maybe Lois was right about them getting together, and that's when a voice shouts out to Clark, and he looks around, stating that it's coming from inside the barn. The three head over, and Clark opens up the doors, asking who's there. And then the voice says, "Let's get a move on. What's the holdup, Clark?" Clark reaches out, and the three see a mirror, with Clark as a boy, and Jonathan Kent. As a young boy, Clark was able to focus and hear things. An army of ants sounded like 100 horses galloping. Beetles nibbling on corn out in the field sounded like a garbage compactor. And right now there's a sound that he can't hear. His father's heart. Nor can he understand why these strange people are here holding his father's body. The young Clark punches the older Clark, shouting and asking, "What did you do? I can't hear my father's heartbeat anymore." Bruce grabs the young boy's arm, telling him, "You need to stop." And the young boy asks, "How did you know my name?" He pushes Bruce to the ground, and then the young Clark tells himself that he needs to get away, and he jumps, breaking through the barn roof. If you're confused right now, don't worry. It will make sense eventually. Clark sets his father, Jonathan Kent, down, telling him, "No, my dad is the strongest man I've ever known. He's gotta wake up." Jonathan starts to cough, and then he looks at Clark's chest, stating, "That emblem." Jonathan tries to understand, and Clark tells him that he needs to relax. His heart will. But then he stares at Clark, telling him, "That face. You must be his father." "No, no, no, no!" Clark says that this is all a misunderstanding, but Jonathan begs for him to please don't take my son away. Meanwhile, over at Devil's Mouth Falls, the young Clark is wiping his tears, telling himself that his dad is dead because of him, and those people, they're gonna take him away to another planet. A voice echoes asking, "Why are you crying?" And the young Clark asks, "Who's there? Are you with those people who showed up?" And the voice tells him no. Quite the opposite, actually. They are someone who can help him, but first, he's gonna need to help them. Back at the barn, Jonathan begins to open up the cellar doors, and Diana tells him that they apologize for the confusion, but she can assure him that Superman is not young Clark's father. Jonathan heads down into the cellar, pulling away a tarp showing the ship that Clark arrived in, telling Clark that you may not be his father, but judging by that symbol, you may have an answer to some of my son's questions. I'm guessing for now, we're gonna have to put my fear aside, and hopefully you can lead me to the truth about Clark. A short while later, everyone rides with Jonathan in his truck, and Bruce says that this is ridiculous. Jonathan tells him that he knows it's a bit cramped, but imagine what people would say if they saw the three of them flying around dressed up like that. The only place that he could think of where his son would go would be the Devil's Mouth. It's where he learned to swim, and once they arrive, Clark walks with Jonathan, and Bruce whispers to Diana that something isn't right. If we were actually in the past, then it would be likely that we've changed our present and future. However, it's also possible that it's not a matter of when we got here, but where. When we were driving, Clark looked around, and it wasn't a look of familiarity. It was a look of wonder, as if he was seeing this town for the first time. Diana tells Bruce that he's being too analytical. She's been looking for Themyscira with no success. If she were in Clark's shoes, she would have the same look. If they are in the past, you may not remember it. The group continues to walk, and Bruce finds young Clark's hair, and as him and Diana scout ahead, Clark himself begins to feel weak. Suddenly, he slips and falls into the river, and without any help, Jonathan jumps in after him. He pulls out Clark, and he tells him, "Come on, you've got to get my boy." Clark coughs, stating that he can't tell him much about his son, but there's something that he can tell him about himself. He's the type of person who gets up before the sun rises, dances with his wife in the kitchen even though he thinks it's silly, and watches the sun set with his dog. He may not have the answers, but he doesn't need them. With everything that he has, that's what his son Clark would want. A few moments later, Bruce and Diana return with the young boy. And as Bruce and Diana go to help their Clark, the older individual, Bruce mentions that he found traces of kryptonite in the water. But that's strange. How is young Clark unaffected? Back outside the Kent barn, in the current time and place, the proper world, Jonathan, Superboy, looks at the vines growing, and he asks, "What is all this?" A voice tells him that it's the seeds that he planted, and his father should have taught him better than take things from a stranger. The figure then looks at Clark, Bruce, and Diana, all bound up by the vine, stating that it seems they are in a good dream. He even brought his friends. Poison Ivy then says it doesn't matter. She'll take care of them out here, while he takes care of them in there. Soon back with the three of them, the scenery changes, and Bruce now finds himself looking down an alleyway in Gotham, hearing the two bangs that forever changed his life. He jumps down, stating that it was here. Are we now lost in my own city? But back outside the Kent barn in the proper time, Lois beats on the door asking if anyone's there. She looks back to see John's hat on the ground and says, all right, now she's officially worried. Meanwhile, back in Dream Gotham, the young Bruce Wayne sits with Dr. Quinzel as she tells him to go ahead and tell her what he's feeling. Outside on the rooftops, Bruce says that this is wrong. The details, they're all wrong. This is not my city. This is not our world. Diana then points at Wayne Tower, stating that this might not be his world, but it looks like a good place to start finding answers is over there. Over in the tower, the young Bruce Wayne is looking at a flyer of the Zorro movie that killed his parents, and Alfred takes it away, stating that it's easy to think that his choices may have led them to a very specific outcome. The young Bruce stops him, telling him, don't. Just give me the medication that my doctor gave me and leave me alone. After taking it, he rubs his head and then he looks back, and the image of Alfred changes into that of an undead Zorro on his horses. Superman flies by, grabbing young Bruce, but the medication that he's taken shows Superman as a demon. Young Bruce struggles to break free, and then Batman, seen as a giant bat, swoops in and grabs him. As they crash down into the car below, Diana stands over him, telling him that he's under some kind of a spell, blinding him from the truth, and she can fix this. She wraps her lasso around young Bruce's arm, and then young Bruce says that it wasn't his fault. When he opens his eyes, he sees nothing, and Alfred helps him up, stating, it never was, and I will remind you of that every day. Elsewhere, Batman looks at a flyer stating that for the longest time, he couldn't forgive himself. The actions that he's taken affected other people's lives. Tim was getting ready to do what he never could and leave it all behind. And Superman tells him that Tim's death wasn't his fault. This is who they are, and as much as they try to fight it, this is who their sons will be. All they can do is prepare for what's out there. If you're curious about Tim Drake's death, then check out the video down below. It's a story in Detective Comic Books which involves the death of Tim Drake. Back at the Kent barn, Lois drives the truck, bursting through the barn doors, shouting for Ivy to get her hands off of her son. Once again, the scenery washes away and Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman find themselves on a boat rowing to the shore. Wonder Woman tells them that she can feel it, they're here. She's arrived at Themyscira! As the three reach the shore, Wonder Woman kneels on the ground stating that this is her home. She followed her heart's desire and it led them here. And Batman tells her, don't be fooled, none of this is real. And then Superman notices something. He ducks out of the way of the oncoming arrow and tells everyone to look out. Suddenly, a group of Amazons surround them and speaking in their language, one shouts, "Who are you?" Wonder Woman tells her sisters that she is not their enemy. She is the daughter of Hippolyta, the 10th queen of the Amazons, the princess of Themyscira, and she can prove. But the Amazons shout, lies! And they swing down as another Amazon holds her shield up, protecting Diana. The young Diana pulls off her helmet, stating that that is not their nature to strike until they have exhausted all other alternative options. If this woman tells a lie, then she will be punished. If she speaks the truth, then she believes that they may have more questions to ask. Back at the Kent barn, Lois plows through the barn, hitting Ivy to get her away from her son. She jumps out of the truck, running over to John, asking if he's okay. She can't lose both him and her husband. She looks up and sees Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman all wrapped in vines, and Ivy tells her that her son is fine. She moved him out of the way. As she punches Lois, Ivy tells her that although she can't say the same for her! Back at Themyscira, the three are brought to the arena, and Superman asks what exactly is going on here. Wonder Woman tells him that they are being tested, and they must win. As the three complete their challenges, Hippolyta walks out telling them that perhaps they are not imposters after all. So what is the young woman's name? She tells them that they may call her Wonder Woman, and Themyscira is her home, with her sisters, her queen, and her family. Hippolyta reaches out holding Diana's face, telling her that you are welcomed home. We will grant you acceptance to this paradise. However, the men cannot stay. They will go to the dark quarters. As everyone is led to the raft, the young Diana then asks why is Wonder Woman going with them, and Hippolyta tells her that she has given her every opportunity to stay, however she declined, which would make it appear that her path lies elsewhere. As the three board the raft, it begins to drift off, but just before it gets out of range, the young Diana jumps on. Wonder Woman asks her, what were you thinking? This will bring you to your eternal rest. And the young Diana shouts that she will find no respite. She can help them. She has seen how her and her friends fought during the games, and she knows that she has returned with a heavy heart and wants to know why. As the lasso tangles around their arms, the young Diana says that she can see it. They are one, and none of this is real. Wonder Woman says yes, this world was created for us, and it wants to learn who we are. As the raft sails, a giant sea creature surfaces out of the water, and Batman says, please tell me that that is not real as well. And the young Diana tells everyone that this may sound strange, but this creature will take them where they need to go. The serpent bites down, swallowing the raft, and it begins to swim away. And a few moments later, Wonder Woman holds out the lasso, looking for the young princess, asking, where is she? The serpents will not have her. She runs through the mound of snakes, and she grabs the sword and starts slashing at everything that moves. With her last strike, she cuts the side of the serpent's stomach, releasing the three of them. And as everyone looks up, Mongol says that he's proud of his daughter. She has not only brought him one, but 3 presents. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Ivy wakes up in a field remembering that she was chosen to be the protector of something called the Green. Recently, it has given her the gift of consciously entering into her own dreams, and up until now, she was the only non-plant life form. Now, things have changed. The girl who appeared before her was so innocent that she accepted her as one of her own. She taught her how to create life, how to love, and then everything was taken away and awoken from her perfect world. Ivy goes on to state that Mongol had closed the door to the dream world, but the connection to her daughter remains strong. Lois asks, why don't you just go back to sleep if it was all just a dream? And Ivy says, no. No more dreaming. I want the real thing. Back in the dream world, Batman tells everyone that their latest intel on Mongol was that he was buried in the Black Mercy. He must have used those alien plants to force them into the dream world. Mongol starts to beat down on the 3 of them, and the daughter tells Mongol, you cannot kill them, at least not yet. Mongol tells her, you're right. It's just in my nature to conquer. But before Mongol can do anything else, the 3 heroes fight back, and Wonder Woman stomps on Mongol, telling him, your twisted little fantasy only made us stronger. Superman then says, no more games. You're just a part of this world's creation to stop us from. But Mongol stops him, telling him, wake up? No, I was once blind to trust like you, but my child appeared and opened my eyes. Mongol's body begins to grow and he towers over the group, shouting, we are not in your world, you're in mine. Everything that you've experienced was all crafted by my child. Here in the Black Mercy world, I've lived out my fantasy of killing Superman over and over again, but something was missing. That was when my White Mercy was born. A child capable of channeling not only the dreams of this world, but nightmares as well. I've given her the knowledge of how to take lives and how to conquer. I could feel true happiness. Then one day, our world was breached by an outsider, and then we learned of the presence of poison ivy and how it meant that we were prisoners within a dream. My daughter gained her trust and even her love, and when her guard was down, she revealed the world around us was created by the Black Mercy plant, and that she could access it. Right now, your bodies are empty vessels, and the powers of the sun bursting through Superman's body will ensure that my child's dominance over the world will happen. Back in the real world, Ivy tells Lois that this wasn't how it was supposed to turn out. She was doing this to free her daughter, and Lois shouts that a true parent would never do what she did to her daughter. Ivy begins to rip the vines off of John, telling her that she felt real to her. Through her husband, she was trying to bring her here, and Superman's eyes begin to open up, and through the daughter's voice, she shouts, "Mother, I'm here!" Superman then reaches out, grabbing Ivy by the throat, and she asks, "Why are you doing this?" And Superman's voice changes again, and Mongol tells her, "No, Mongol, Master of Worlds, is free." He tosses Ivy back, telling her, "You were a fool! You sought to be reunited with that which is not real. The White Mercy was created for one purpose, to get me what I needed to be free." Lois wishes to John, "Remember that thing that we told you not to do? Do it now." And seconds later, Superman's body is blasted out of the barn. Back in the dream world, the daughter looks at Superman's lifeless body, stating that their friend is dying. This world will consume his mind as her father takes over his body, but she can help. And Batman snaps, "Help? Look around. We don't even belong here. We need to get back to our own world." Wonder Woman stops Batman, telling him, "You need to calm down. The child is trapped here just as much as we are, and right now she may be the only one who can find us a way out. She has brought each of us here to break down our emotional barriers. It was the only way that she could get through to us. Her father wanted out of this place, and she needed to be reunited with her mother. So possessing us was the only way that they could make this happen. However, something unexpected happened instead. She learned of Superman's joy with his father, Wonder Woman's loyalty with her friends, and Batman's weight of regret. Right now, we cannot defeat her father from here, and though Wonder Woman's trust grows, her place is needed here. His is out there, so will Batman find it in him to let her in? Back in the real world, Superman charges back at Ivy and the others, and at the last second, Bruce jumps through, pushing everyone out of the way. Ivy asks, "Bruce?" And Bruce tells her, "No. It's your daughter." Mongol grabs the truck, asking if they're all ready to die, and the daughter tells him, "Not today, they won't." She then pulls out a green pendant and holds it out, shining the green light of kryptonite over Mongol. Lois runs over to Clark's body, shouting for Bruce, or whoever that is, to put it away, and then she rips the Black Mercy off. And in the dream world, Wonder Woman sees Superman's body vanish. Ivy's daughter then tells Ivy that she missed her. It's strange to be in another's body. However, though she feels she loves her, there are others who care for this man, and she will not deprive him of the same love that she feels right now. Ivy tells her to wait, and her daughter tells her that she won't suffer heartache. Through the connection to the green, she will make her forget. But don't worry, the one thing that she has taught her is that Mother Earth will always find ways to survive. Back in the dream world, Wonder Woman sees Batman's body vanish and said that it seems Batman has awoken as well, and then she pulls out a pill. Moments later, she rips the Black Mercy off of herself. And outside, Clark looks around, stating that they're all back, but Diana tells him not all. Ivy asks if anyone can show her the way back to Gotham. She really doesn't know why she's here. And as the sun sets, the three heroes stare out of the giant hole in Clark's house, and Diana tells him that he should keep it this way. Clark tells her it's a nice view, but it might be too bright for Bruce. And Bruce says, "No, actually, it's perfect." This was, in my opinion, one of the best stories about the Trinity, because we got to see a deeper side to each one of the heroes. It was a great way to introduce all three of the superheroes for fans who may have picked up this book because they're a Batman fan, or a Wonder Woman fan, or a Superman fan. I overall really did enjoy this. I hope you guys did as well, and let me know in the comments down below what you felt about this storyline. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to keep up to date on comic books, and I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.